Devon Archer showed up, and for him, it's not third time is a charm, but apparently it's fourth time is a charm, finally appearing after 3 cancellations. Devon Archer, Hunter Biden's former business partner, and I'm guessing now a former and not current friend, showed up today on Capitol Hill to testify. The Republican House Oversight Committee grilled Archer for hours. It's being reported tonight that Archer testified that President Biden was on business calls on speakerphone with others present with Hunter Biden more than 20 times. Now, no doubt Archer was grilled for details about those 20-plus speakerphone calls. But why was the president on the speakerphone calls? Were they calls simply father-son talk? If so, why were the calls on speaker? Or is there more to the calls? Tonight, we need more information, and we're going to get it. Good evening, and welcome to The Record. I'm Greta Van Susteren. Archer was in the hot seat today, grilled about many topics besides the 20-plus calls on speakerphone. What was the extent of Hunter Biden and Devon Archer's businesses? Why so many LLCs? What did each LLC do? Why were both Archer and Hunter on the Burisma board? What did they bring to the Burisma board? Neither seems to have had experience in natural gas. And what business did either of them alone or together do with anyone from China? And what about the millions and millions and millions of dollars? Where did that come from? Who got that? Who was paid? Why did Biden family members get some of the money for doing what? And what about the email referring to the big guy? Who's the big guy? Did he get money? For what and how much? Now, Archer testified for a long time. Did he get Hunter Biden or the Biden family in deep trouble, or did he get them out of trouble? We don't know yet because we don't have the transcript to know exactly what was asked and what were the answers. It will take days to get the transcript. So tonight, you and I can't fact check what precisely Archer was asked and how he answered. But tonight, in an effort to zero in on the developing story, we are getting information from both sides of the aisle. And as you might imagine tonight, there are 2 different versions of what Devon Archer said and what it means and where this investigation is headed. We begin with New York Democrat Congressman Dan Goldman. As background, before Goldman went to Congress, he's a freshman congressman, he was lead counsel for Congressman Adam Schiff's Intelligence Committee. His work led to President Trump's first impeachment. Today, Congressman Goldman was in the room watching, listening to Archer, and maybe asking questions himself. This is his update on what he heard and what he concluded.
The witness indicated that Hunter spoke to his father every day, and approximately 20 times over the course of a 10-year relationship, Hunter may have put his father on the phone with any number of different people, and they never once spoke about any business dealings. As he described it, it was all casual conversation, niceties, the weather, what's going on. There wasn't a single conversation about any of the business dealings that Hunter had.
Democratic Congressman Goldman then went further.
After yet another 2 hours, there still is no connection of any of Hunter Biden's business dealings with President Biden. There's no connection in any bank records, in any recollection, in any testimony between President Biden and his son Hunter's business dealings.
So now for a completely different take, House Oversight Republicans tweeted their takeaways, including, quote, Archer's testimony confirms Joe Biden lied to the American people when he said he had no knowledge about his son's business dealings and was not involved. When Joe Biden was vice president, he joined Hunter Biden's dinners with his foreign business associates in person or by speakerphone over 20 times. Devon Archer testified that the value of adding Hunter Biden to Burisma's board was the brand, and confirmed that then Vice President Joe Biden was the brand and that the 20 phone calls were to sell the brand. Member of the House Oversight Committee, Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry joins me. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta. And look, where there's smoke, there's fire. And President Biden has gotten himself into a inferno of testimony and direct evidence that shows a link to the highest level of corruption with the presidency of the United States. Bagmen and bullies and those type of things are something of a banana republic, not the presidency of the United States.
All right. Well, every time there's a fire, they send someone in to develop they find out what caused it, whether it's an arsonist or whatever. So did you get any proof today? Because I hear 2 completely different sides. And for the life of me, I don't understand why this wasn't done in public. I don't know why I couldn't have heard this, or anybody else, the American people couldn't hear this question answered, because this is very important. This is a serious accusation against the President of the United States, and we don't get to hear. So did you get any proof today of anything sinister?
Well, look, I mean, Devon Archer's testimony to me is proof that, look, I don't know how many times you call your father or your mother and put them on the phone, on a speakerphone with your business associates, especially business associates from out of the country, where you're receiving $17 million and providing nothing that the American people can figure in the way of a service or a product. Maybe most people do that, but I actually don't think anybody does that, Greta. So this is about influence peddling and the selling of your position and America's policies or positions on things that are supposed to be good for America, not used for profit for your own family and your position. That's what we're talking about here.
Okay, I mean, the influence peddling, it seems, at a minimum, comes from Hunter Biden. He was using the fact that his father was vice president or former vice president to do this. But what's sort of the missing element for me is whether Vice President or citizen Biden was involved in any way. Did he get any money? Did he know that this was to sort of nod and wink to help Hunter Biden get on some board that he's not qualified for? I mean, there's still got to be some connection. It can't just be some father checking in to see if, listen, you know, I imagine he checks in on his son a lot because his son has had a lot of problems. So, I mean, you know, you still have to have something that shows that Vice President Biden or citizen Biden was somehow involved in this, more than what you have, I think.
And look, I think that the left is going to continue to discredit Devon Archer and all the testimony so far. But over time, look, there are 20 companies, shell companies, that we didn't know about six months ago. There's $17.7 million in payments from foreigners that we didn't know about 6 months ago. We just continue to get closer and closer to corroborating the story. And oh, by the way, Greta, while this is occurring, the Biden Department of Justice, the IRS, and other agencies have been running interference for the Biden family or the Biden business crime ring. So whether that's obstruction of justice that has been directed by the president is yet to be found. But like I said, there's a lot of smoke here, and we're not done. Look, and let's face it as well. The Department of Justice tried to intimidate this witness, as it is trying to show all other witnesses, don't come and speak to the Congress, don't come and speak to House oversight, and that's obstruction. Why are they doing that?
Here are the questions I have tonight, and I have a lot of questions. One is, first of all, that plea agreement. Look, I was a criminal defense lawyer. I never saw anything like that my whole life. All right, we beat that dead horse last week. All right, but the second thing is, I'm very curious about who the big guy is, and is there any money going to the big guy? I mean, I think you follow the money trail, because that's sort of the easiest way as an investigator to find out if something was done, because they've got to be Have you subpoenaed President Biden's bank accounts? Because that would be a good way to see if he got a lot of money.
Well, that's exactly right, Greta. But on occasion here, the United States Attorney for Delaware, or the Assistant United States Attorney, said to the IRS and the investigators, do not ask about the big guy. Do not ask about the president. And so we're not there yet, because they've been disallowed of seeking that information. I think it's going to take an impeachment inquiry to get to these answers, to get the bank records, to match up the financial statements given to the IRS and tax payments by the Biden family, to match it up with the bank records and the business dealings. And we simply don't have all that, because we have been stonewalled in getting it, not only from some banks, but literally from the Department of Justice or the IRS. That kind of activity has to stop.
Congressman Scott Perry, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Greta. God bless you. Have a great night.
Thank you.